So when we actually start going about configuring Etherchannel, we have to think about, or LACP, depending on which mode we're using. We have to think about all of the different things that happen. We got to make sure that the interfaces support Etherchannel. We have to understand that the speed and duplex have to match. We have to make sure that the VLANs match, because there's going to be a two-part process here. What we're going to do is we got to consolidate the ports into a group so that they can communicate, and then after that, on the group itself is where we actually set any specific settings like trunking. So again, here in the range of VLANs, Etherchannel supports the same range of VLANs as all the other interfaces, but if they're not the same, right? If I don't have all of those ports that are able to communicate in this specific VLAN, then it's not going to work. So again, here's an example, right? All of these particular things match, and so the channel's established. In this particular case, the duplex is off, right? And it's not going to establish that channel. Now, I noticed that one thing here is I don't have to specify, right? I don't that the ports be physically next to each other. Right? I could use any port on the switch that supports Etherchannel, any group of ports, right? Remember, I could have 8 in a channel. So I could have 2, I could have 3, 4, 5, however many I wanted, up to 8 in that channel. So I have a lot of flexibility. So again, watch what happens here. When I use this interface command, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to work on these 2 ports using my interface range command. And then I'm going to define channel group 1, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in the active state. Right? They're in that active state. And immediately that switch begins to create the port channel. Now, from this point, anytime I deal with that particular channel, I don't deal with the individual ports. I deal with the port channel and the numeric identifier. So let's think about the switch right here, right? This is one switch, and let's just say it's a 24 port switch, right? So I'm going to go ahead and kind of draw a box here. Right, so here's my this is going to represent my first switch and its set of ports, and then we'll go ahead and allow this one to represent my second switch. So remember, if I have a switch that has 24 ports and I wanted to use these 2 ports to be ether channel, or these 2, right? These 2, I could create channel groups as long as I could connect, in this case, 8 ports. All right, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's 8. I could skip 2 and I could make another 8. I don't have to skip 2, right? I could connect these switches together and I could say, okay, These 8 ports are going to be bonded together, and they're going to run VLAN traffic through them for certain VLANs. These 8 ports can select and carry traffic for another group of VLANs, right? I could begin to do that, and what I'm ultimately trying to do is I'm trying to aggregate my data. Now, it may not necessarily make a lot of sense right here to put to use up all these ports, right, to begin to do that. But I could maybe connect 4, right, and then another 4, right, and start to bond ports, and then I might be able to use 8 ports over here to carry that traffic to another high-speed switch, right? So I could use a series of switches to begin to aggregate my traffic and make it even more able to carry large amounts of traffic, right? So that's what this really looks like. So the screen might look a little bit different here than where we left off, but I went ahead and drew some switches. So this is going to be maybe our mid-level switch, where we have traffic that includes VLAN 20, VLAN 10, and VLAN 50. So what I've done is I've aggregated each one of these rows of port. Right, so there's 4 ports that are bonded together here in an ether channel, right, that carries this VLAN traffic. There's 4 ports here that carries VLAN 20 traffic, and then 4 ports that carry VLAN 50 traffic. And they're going into another core switch that is essentially going to aggregate all that traffic, and it's going to put it over one even larger bonded link. Right, I went ahead and put together 6 links here, and maybe these are special 10 gig ports. I don't know, but they're all bonded together, and so they're carrying all this VLAN traffic over to an even faster, higher speed core switch. Right, this is going to be in our carrier hotel, maybe. So maybe this is our data center network. And then this particular switch is linked in to another carrier. So notice how these guys come in. I put carrier B right here. So this could easily be like maybe AT&T, right? This could be level 3. Right? It's an even larger carrier that aggregates all the data from the middle carrier. This may be my high-speed corporate network that's in the co-located data center. This is the bigger carrier that actually now is going to take that and it's going to send it from this switch down their fiber network. They may use these ports right here to connect and build a fiber. So we'll go ahead and color those gray, and we'll just say long haul fiber. All right. So that's actually what that might look like if we utilize this process to actually go ahead and transmit data using aggregation, right? As I begin to build a network and make it larger and larger and put more data on it, I'm able to use this and use switches to make that aggregated traffic work better and push it at the other side of this long haul fiber. We're going to have something very similar to this at another node, where we're going to take it and send it back out to various people, carriers, and networks. And so that's what this actually looks like when we start to see it from the carrier side. And that's why port aggregation is so important. So once I've gone and created those ports and those channel groups, then I have to go ahead and tell it, hey, look, okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to work on this particular group specifically. I'm going to go ahead and turn it onto a trunk mode. Notice I didn't put it on desirable. I just went ahead and turned the trunk mode on. And then I'm going to put the VLANs on the trunk that are allowed there. So that's creating that layer, that channel group layer. Then we go in and work on what's going to go over that group. So we don't necessarily do our trunks first on those links. We turn the trunk on after we've established the Etherchannel. And then how do we verify it? All right, so this is how we do it. We show interface port channel. All right, that's going to show us that the channel's up. And then if we look at the show Etherchannel summary, now we're actually seeing which port group we have. Remember, we can have multiple port groups on a switch. And that's the summary. And so when we look at that summary, we can these particular codes are what is going to give us information about that particular group and what's going on. So we can see if there are any configuration settings that we need to have. Okay, and then we have the show Etherchannel port channel. All right, we're going to look at each channel specifically. Right, and that's going to tell us more information about those channels. Now notice that in this particular case, I can see the specifics on each port in the channel. And then I have to show interfaces. And this is going to show me the actual packet level traffic going through the interfaces that are made up in a channel. All right, so remember when I created that Etherchannel, I had to put ports in the groups. And then I had to go in and configure the channel itself. And so that's kind of what this is showing me here. First of all, I want to look at the specifics on that port channel. All right? Notice that the Etherchannel itself has an address that was created. Right? So that now there's one MAC address here. That was created when we created that channel. So it's a layer 2 pseudo interface. Right? And then we get to see the actual protocol that's running over the channel. Right? That gives us more information there. And then now we're going to look specifically at using this port channel command. It's not a summary, but I want to actually go and look inside that port channel. Remember, I can have multiple port channels on a switch. And then I want to look at my specific interface. And so those are important commands to know, and you want to get familiar with exactly what you're looking at when you are examining the Etherchannel.